I'm the person who has seen this show before.
I'm a person who's never watched an anime.
HiroBabble, we are HiroBabble. HiroBabble, we are HiroBabble.
Hey, what's going on, HiroBabble Nation? Welcome back to the podcast that stole Christmas. In this 52-week series, we're going to be breaking down every scene from Jim Carrey's Grinch movie, and we're going to be digesting it and throwing it back up onto you guys. And
we're not going to give Christmas back.
No.
No, bitch. Anyways, this is a How the Grinch Stole Christmas podcast now.
Yeah, we got so many views on the Christmas special that we're back. We're nothing but Christmas specials now.
6 views on the Christmas special does something to a man, you know?
Yep.
Now it's Christmas every day.
That's right.
Jokes aside, though, we are actually here today to talk about HiroBabble Neon Genesis Evangelion episode 11.
I didn't get the name of this episode. Did
The
you?
Day Tokyo 3 Stood Still.
That's pretty good.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
And great names go with a great episode. And that's really how I felt about this one. What were your snapshot thoughts on it? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Yeah, I like this episode. I liked it more than 10.
Okay. See, I this is one of my favorites, if I'm being honest. Episode 4, episode 11, up there is some of my...
This episode's kind of weird, just because it's unconventional for this show. They kind of, they throw some different characters out that, especially like Gendo's main goon.
Yeah.
His right-hand man, as I've been calling him the entire show.
Kozu Fuyusuki. Or Fuyotsuki.
I'll remember that.
Fuyusagi.
Fuyu, man.
No, Fuyu.
So, but I don't know. It's cool to see him actually have a line that's not like, listen up, or something serious.
I can't promise we're going to remember all of their names, but right off the rip, we get introduced to Maya Ibuki, Shigeru Aoba, and if you're wondering who these characters are, Shigeru,
so am I.
Shigeru has the long hair. Maya is the female command center person, and Makoto Hyuga is the guy with the glasses. You'll remember him last episode because he looks at Misato and goes, there's a person in there, right? And she goes, yeah, I do, dumb shit. And that's it.
That's his character.
But those three, you usually see them hovering around the command center with Ritsuko, Misato, and they're usually the ones going, oh no, Ava 1 has lost all battery control. Yeah. Oh no, Ava 2 shit its pants. Ava 0 is dead. No, they're not dead. Close though. They just say these lines that are meant to...
They're like the exposition to get the audience to feel like it's a big time crunch and nothing's going as planned. And,
yeah. Oh no, they're at critical levels. Or, just some some dumb shit that, like you said, is meant to establish the stakes.
In this episode, those characters do their laundry, while the main characters bitch.
You heard it here first, folks.
And that's a good episode.
Anyway, so what would you rate this episode?
I don't even know that I did write a rating. You'll have to wait till the end. You'll have to wait till the end.
I will say, though, one thing I like is this episode opens with, and I feel this way about episode 10, too. Episode 10, you see Tokyo 3, the actual residents out doing stuff. Up until that point, you really don't see it. You're just told... they have to hide in shelters. You see Shinji, Rei, and Asuka's classmates, which is cool, but you never see a busy street. And you do in episode 10. And here, you see the people that are kind of the cogs, very crucial cogs, I will say, but doing their laundry. Yeah. With Ritsuko, and that level of mundane activity. And I know I've said it before, but I want to reiterate. I think is, 1, cool to see, but 2, it is very, very important. Because in a show where you are fighting angels and talking about the second impact and, 14-year-olds are controlling robots, having something that grounds all of that is great. And I think adds a nice duality to what would otherwise be just like kind of a science fiction romp.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, if the whole point is we're saving humanity, it's nice to see that humanity once in a while.
Exactly. You said it better than I ever could. But I will say it is also weird seeing these characters that we're used to, seeing walking around in their uniforms and doing all that stuff. Yeah. Complaining about, the cost of doing their laundry.
Right.
Especially Ritsuko, because she's like, oh, the cost of this laundry. And I'm like...
I have no idea why they're even doing laundry outside of Nerve.
Yeah, I'm just kind of left going... You guys aren't making a shit ton of money.
Right. The budget is so focused on weapons creation that there's no budget for a washing machine.
Yeah, or any sort of day-to-day task, I guess. I mean, Masato says it in episode 1, oh, I just finished paying it off.
I know.
And it's just...
I did my laundry for a summer in all laundromats.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, like, I really, those are some of my favorite days.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. How long ago was that?
2012. Maybe like 8 years ago.
Okay. A little bit of a throwback. Throwback Thursday.
Throwback Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah,
well,
but I mean, it was cool. You get to know all the people in there. You just goof off and do your laundry. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, I'm sure the laundromats they were using may be a step up because it seemed like it folded, pressed, and wrapped your clothes when you were done.
They were definitely a step up from the laundromat that we used in like Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Boston though.
Yeah.
They're no Tokyo 3.
We didn't even have a show there. We just had a laundry day there.
And frankly, makes sense.
It was fun.
So the episode opens with, these kind of side characters doing their laundry, and it's a cool way to kind of just open the episode, and then it cuts to them taking the train into work, and they see Gendo's right-hand man, Fuyusaki. I'm just gonna call him that.
Well, they give him an actual like rank title now, which is deputy commander.
Yeah, which I mean, hey, to be that to Gendo is a pretty bold, pretty bold title to have.
I got to admit, it's kind of. I mentioned that this episode is different, and that's not in a bad way. Like, you get kind of this soft opening into kind of another kind of soft scene where they're all just kind of talking to this guy that we really haven't... We don't know anything about him on a personal level.
And not only that, we've never seen him interact as a regular human being.
I know.
And that can all be said for the other characters that are talking to him. Regular, like, hey, some weather we're having, That's the kind of energy that this train conversation has.
Well, you can tell that Ritsuko knows him better than the other two.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of like, oh, Deputy Commander, blah, blah, blah. How are you doing? And the other guy be like, sir, I will now salute you, sir.
Yeah.
And and he starts kind of like just spilling some drama about, he's kind of talking about stuff I never would have expected him to mention.
Yeah, he's like, Gendo saddles me with all of the... side tasks.
Busy work.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, what? And he's like, well, I have to go to city council today. And then Ritsuko goes, isn't the vote soon? And he goes, yeah, but it doesn't matter because they can't do anything.
She's pretty much like, isn't something like important happening today? And he's like, nothing they actually do is important. Only what we do is important.
Yeah, well, and then he basically just lets it out that the city is run by 3 supercomputers.
Yeah, what did he call it? The Magi.
Yeah, the nonchalantness of that statement was pretty great.
Yeah, he's like, the city council meetings are just a menial chore, and the city assembly is a sham.
Yeah, well, and it's great too because that that line where he's basically talking about all of this. He goes to Ritsuko, aren't you doing something crazy today? And she goes, yeah, I'm running a test on Ava or Unit 0. And this happens a few other times, but he says the line in my dub, well, I'll expect some good news. Yeah. And then it cuts to an emergency screen.
I know.
Which I loved. And, so basically they're trying to, I think, calibrate Unit Zero.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
I got the sense that, okay, they've done all the testing that they needed to do with this. They now have Unit 2 here, and they know what like a finished unit is. So now let's start getting Unit 0 to where it can function just like, Unit 2 or Unit 1.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And
they had some technical name for what they're testing.
Yeah, I can't really remember it, but I also don't think it was like a huge...
No, we're not supposed to.
Yeah, so what's great though is that scene then runs into Misato getting on an elevator.
Yeah.
And just standing there, and then she hears someone running towards it, and then puts her hand on the closed door button.
Yep.
And who is it? None other than...
your boy.
Kaji. My man.
I know. He has a line where he's like, man, you look upset today. And she's like, oh, it's because I had to see your face so early this morning.
Yeah. And he goes, wow, sheesh.
I know.
And so then as they're going, the elevator shuts off, and it cuts to this picture, or like... showing of all of these circuits shutting off in tandem.
Yeah.
And basically the command center's kind of freaking out because they're going, we need to turn these back on because that's what the Maji computers run off of.
Right.
And then I think it's Kyozu who goes, why aren't the backups kicking on? And then cuts to Shinji, who was on the phone with, I think it was Gendo.
Well, yeah. Well, Shinji calls his dad, and then his dad answers.
Yeah.
And then Shinji's like,
hey, what's up, Dad? And then the line goes blank because the power goes out. So those three start walking towards Nerve,
Well, yeah. Shinji basically called his dad to tell him, I'm failing in school, and so I'm going to be going to, like, tutoring. And the dad's like, don't waste my time with this. I pay Masato to take care of you.
Yeah.
And then, like,
that's
the line,
okay.
Basically, he's like, don't ever call me on this secure line. And then the power cuts out.
Yeah.
And Shinji's just like, what a dick.
Well, and then I think Asuka asks him, and he was like, well, it didn't sound like he hung up.
Right.
It just kind of stopped. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then that's when they get to the command center, and none of their cards work, so none of them can get in. But then it cuts to Ritsuko and Maya, and they're walking through the building kind of trying to figure out what's up. And they're kind of like, why are none of the backup generators
Yeah, they're
kicking
going
on?
through all the things that they had in place so that this would never happen.
And
they're both like kind of flabbergasted that, sure, maybe the power could go off, but it would only be off for a matter of seconds before everything would come back on.
Yeah.
And that's not happening, and they're like, no, there's no way in hell that this could happen.
Well, and then it cuts to Kozu and Gendo, and Kozu goes, yeah, we set up all three of those backups to kick on should any of them fail.
Yeah.
And then Gendo goes, yeah, this seems like it was a deliberate move. Like something, someone had to have known this would be the case.
Right.
Purely to catch us off our guard.
You get the idea that this is potentially an inside job.
Yeah. Well, and so then I think it's Gendo or someone, but later they make reference to that, and I don't want to get out of order, but
I want to just mention something. There's a scene where when the three Ava pilots are walking down the street, they're walking down a street that just the entire like left lane of the street is like a giant ramp for something from the Ava unit to like shoot out of, and it's just like those are the little details that I really enjoy seeing.
Yeah.
They live in this freaking crazy city where these robots come out and save everybody.
Yeah.
Piloted by kids. And so, there would be, like, a lane with where, a gun would probably shoot out of for them to catch. Or, they have all these things set up around the city that we see during angel fights. But it's nice to also see the infrastructure for them just while some people are walking down the street.
Totally.
I don't know if you noticed it, but it was like Ava 05 something spring, and it was just a half the road.
I totally missed that. I wonder if I've missed that on past viewing. That's a good catch though, because I don't know, like you're saying, as a whole, that really adds some realism or practicality to
Yeah.
the whole concept that they're pushing, that Tokyo 3 is this mechanized city that allows the Avas to fight. And
Yeah. Well, like I said, it just adds a little bit of realism. It's like, well, yeah, if they're going to be fighting these angels, the infrastructure would have to be built for them to do that.
yeah,
So it's nice that we get to see it.
well, and I will say too, it is interesting that the concept of a power outage really shifts when everything is operated by supercomputers. And you know, when you see Makoto, he's kind of realizing that, like, oh shit, the power's out, I gotta go let someone know. And then he goes, well, how do I let them know?
Yeah.
And it's just interesting that even something in this day and age, like a power outage, can kind of leave them all scrambling.
Right. Well, like we said, a power outage is one thing. Because, I mean, Masato drained the power to fire a gun earlier. But a power outage to Nerve is something that none of them really understand how it could happen.
Yeah, well, what I also love, so it basically cuts to Shinji and the gang and kind of what they're doing. And then when it cuts to Kozu and Gendo, as they're talking about, this was a planned attack, like someone from the inside did it, Kozu goes, yeah, I wrote it down. He goes, well, it would be a disaster if an angel were to attack, right? And then they get a calm, angel on radar.
Right.
And it's funny though, because the Japanese Defense Force is like seeing that same notification, but they're like, get Nerve on the line.
Right.
And Nerve isn't answering, and they're like,
I know.
what are they doing over there? And then that really kind of, I think, drives home that it was an inside job, and if it wasn't, it was definitely directed at Nerve.
Right.
Especially if none of the other groups are experiencing the same outage.
Right. And I think that's purposeful that they showed you that, because you might be thinking, well, maybe it's a competitor, or maybe it's, the salty other branches of whatever military. And like, at least in my version, those guys from the Japan Defense Force, they were kind of like, they weren't even that off-put that Nerve didn't answer, because they're like, well, they're obviously busy working on it.
Yeah, they're like, they're going to handle it. But then I think one of them in my dub was like, well, what's the protocol for this? And someone goes, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Which is not good, especially given the circumstances. But following that, it cuts to Ritsuko crawling up this ladder into a man tube.
Right.
And she goes, I don't even know why we have these. I thought they were just like to make us feel better.
Yeah, she says that they're just 20th century decoration.
And then the like specialist Maya goes, well, you got a plan for everything, right?
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the elevator scene with Misato and Kaji, and Misato's like fanning into her tank top to like keep herself from sweating.
Yeah.
And Kaji drops the line of, wow, hey, if you're that hot, you could take your shirt off.
Yeah, it wouldn't be embarrassing. I mean, I've already seen everything. You know what I'm saying?
And Misato's like, you shut the fuck up.
She puts her jacket on and zips it all the way up.
Yeah, and is just kind of like, Well, so then following that, the next kind of situation that happens is they're in this command center, and Ritsuko is kind of privy to the same thought of this was a targeted attack. It had to have been someone from the inside. Gendo says the line of, mankind's greatest enemy is man himself. So Gendo, I think, is very much like either he knows who did it, has like a few ideas of who did it, but at the end of the day, he's like, yeah, this was kind of a given. So, like, someone was going to try and do this to us, And then he pitches the idea of, we should just get the Avas ready manually.
Right.
And his right-hand man goes,
I know.
How?
It's a bold strategy.
And he goes, well, we have a diesel generator. And he goes, yeah, in case of, like, emergencies. And he goes, well, let's get to it. And then I think it's Ritsuko who goes, well, how do we even know the kids are going to, like, show up? And then Gendo says, I have faith.
Yeah, she's pretty much like, well, it's not going to matter if we don't have pilots.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm sure they'll be here.
Yeah, dude, this episode has some cool Gendo stuff, because there's a scene before this, like, where Misato's kind of fanning her shirt, and Ritsuko's kind of fanning herself. They're all bitching because it's hot.
Yeah.
Like the air is getting stale. They have no AC. And it kind of pans to the background where it's Gendo and his right-hand man just sitting there absolutely burning up. And his right-hand man is like lukewarm. And Gendo's like, agreed. Like they're both just like trying to act like they're not fazed by this insane
they're like,
heat.
yeah, I'm thinking I'm not hot.
Exactly. I thought that was really really clever.
As he's surrounded by like 16 candles, just like brooding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not warm. As he's wearing his full jacket and everything.
Yeah.
But what is great is then it cuts back to Shinji, Asuka, and Rei, and they're kind of trying to navigate these corridors, air vents, and really attempting to find like the best route to get there.
This is kind of like... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. This is kind of like the meat of the episode.
Yeah.
It literally just cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts between really good interplay from the kids.
Yeah.
To funny kind of comedy stuff between Masato and Kaji to like kind of this different side of Gendo that we haven't seen before, and it kind of cuts back and forth between each storyline.
Totally.
It's well done.
Yeah, and I think it's a nice balancing act between the three because you never... Or I guess it never lingers too long on one, but it spends the time where it needs to, because after that scene where they're all kind of huddled up talking, discussing, like the lukewarm, that whole scene, it then really focuses on Shinji, Rei, and Asuka as they're trying to just get to the Eva units.
Yeah, you get to see the dynamic of them, which is a lot of Asuka saying, well, okay, let's pick a leader. It's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Rei goes, I think we should go left. Okay, we're going right.
Right.
Shinji, what do you think? Didn't think so.
I know.
And then they'll do it, but it's funny because pretty much I think Rei goes, there's a shortcut.
Right.
And then Asuka goes, hey, I'm the leader here. So where was that shortcut?
Yeah. Asuka wants to be the leader, so she gets credit for getting them back to Nerve.
Yeah.
But Rei actually understands where
the
they're
layout
at and how to get back. So she pretty much does all the heavy lifting. Her and Shinji do all the heavy lifting.
Well, because they get to a right or a left, and Rei goes, I think we take a left. And Asuka goes, right it is. And they go to the end, and she kicks open a door, and as she does, the angel steps down into the street, and she closes it and goes, well, at least we checked, and I'm glad I led us there so we could see if that was the right way or not. Let's go the right way now.
That is how the kids find out that there's an angel attack.
Yeah.
Which I think that's really brilliant.
Well, I actually think they find out because they see someone walking in that light in the distance, and the person's like, there's an angel! Alert, there's an angel! But that's their first time actually seeing it.
Yeah.
And so it's a nice way to kind of, one, spark urgency for them, outside of what was already there, but also it's just a funny moment of Asuka going, well, I'm glad I could lead us to the door that was not the one, so we know it's not that.
Right. I wonder, what the hell that door is, because it just opens up on the side of a street, and it is straight up just a tunnel that would lead to Nerve.
I mean, maybe it's just either an emergency exit, or, if there's a field operative that needs to get back.
Sure.
Take the R7 door. And then they cut in.
I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. But it is interesting, though, because after Asuka closes the door and they start going back the right way, Shinji asks, for the first time, what are the angels? Which leads to a really interesting discussion because Asuka goes, well, obviously they're trying to kill us, and if you care about yourself, you'll fight them to defend yourself. So... That's why they're bad. And then Shinji goes, well, aren't angels messengers from God?
Right.
Shouldn't they be good? And Asuka's like, I don't care. All I know is we're supposed to kill the angels, and so that's what I do.
Yeah. Dude, I also took that note, because Shinji's almost kind of like, you guys ever wonder if we're on the right side?
Yeah.
And just this really deep question to ask in the middle of this episode.
As she's like, don't look at my dress. And he's like, I'm not. And then he looks up and she goes, I knew it! And kicks him in the face. And that happens after. But anyways, I interrupted.
No, I loved all the interplay between the three of them. Like, Shinji and Rei kind of have some deep moments in this episode together.
Yeah.
And Asuka just is an ass the whole time. And it works really well between the three of them.
Totally. Well, because after that, pretty much what ends up happening is it cuts back to the command center crew of Ritsuko, Gendo, the right-hand man, and for the first time, you see Gendo doing something.
Right.
Like, Gendo is leading the charge, and he's, like, doing the heavy lifting and manual labor.
Pulling, like,
the Evas into place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so cool, though, because I think, like, even Ritsuko's like, okay, Gendo.
I know.
All right. Which is cool. And to see him step up to the plate like that is, one, a huge change of pace, but two, just kind of a cool characterization that he's not above that kind of work.
Well, you get the idea from watching the whole show that, like, Masato, Ritsuko, all these characters have seen Gendo perform acts similar to this. Like, where when Shinji talks shit about him,
yeah,
they kind of defend him because they're like, no, he actually is a good guy. And here we once again see him, just like when he saved Rei, we see him go out of his way to do these incredible feats.
Yeah, when he very easily could just not.
Or just tell someone to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So they essentially start staging all of the Evas, and sure enough, the three kids show up. They fall out of an air duct, and Ritsuko goes, "Oh my God, you guys are here," and they were like, "We're here to fight the angel, but there's no power." And then Ritsuko points them over to Gendo, and they're like, "Don't worry, he's on it." And
who's like feverishly pulling a rope and sweating like crazy.
Yeah, and Shinji's like, "My dad?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Yep." So they're all ready to go, guys. But you only have battery packs, so you're gonna have to make it quick.
Yeah, Shinji and Ritsuko kind of have this moment where he's like in shock that his dad's doing that, and she's like, yeah, he's the one who had faith that you guys would make it here.
Yeah.
None of us wanted to do this.
And Shinji was like, oh, thanks, Papa.
Maybe I'll call him again.
Yeah. I fucking hate you, son. All right, Dad. Fuck. All right. I'm going to go pilot the Eva now. So pretty much they all suit up, and this is the first time you get to see all three of them step up to the plate.
Yeah, on a mission together.
Yeah, all three Evas in action, ready to go, and the triumphant music starts playing, and they're like kind of pressure crawling themselves up this evac tube that would usually just launch them up.
Right.
And then the angel just walks over, and out of its eyes starts crying acid.
Yeah, starts sliming them.
Which I gotta say, I love the varied angel designs.
Yeah. We've kind of got a spider one.
Yeah. You could maybe find some vague similarities, but for the most part, they're all pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, like, lava octopus. We've had, like, manta ray in the ocean.
Rhombus.
We've had rhombus on its axis.
Twins.
We've had kind of that weird walking bird one was the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they've done a really good job. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point.
And as a whole, I just think it's, cool that this is the way it pans out, that this is a spider one. It has acid. It's dropping it right into nerve.
From its eye.
Yeah. But then it's like they're huddled under this one area where the acid can't hit them. And they're like, we need to figure out a way to get up there.
Right.
And who other than the person that was just being an ass comes up with the plan that ends up saving the day.
With a good plan. And what's really cool about this scene is that the kids, they don't have contact with Masato or Ritsuko or any of these people that would normally be giving them orders.
Yeah.
Because, they have no power. So they kind of are left to figure it out on their own to save themselves.
Save the world.
And the world, yeah. And they do.
Yeah. And they do so very, efficiently, and it works without a hitch.
So Asuka's plan is one of them will be the defense, which is just the person that gets the acid slimed. They get slimed. One person is support. They go down and grab the gun.
Backup. In my dub was called backup.
Support in mine, which is...
I will say...
I think they're both...
I think that one makes more sense than backup.
Backup, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, because she's like defense, offense, and backup.
I'm kind of just like, why didn't Ray just grab the gun on the bottom and just shoot it?
Well, because they had to have defense, offense,
Yeah,
and
they had
backup.
to have, each of them had to have a job.
Yeah, because there's 3, dude.
And then Shinji's offense. But Ray immediately volunteers to be defense. Asuka can't have any of that.
Yeah, she's so like, no, the defense is going to get the most credit here, so...
Because, like, I'm going to be getting hurt while you guys...
Yeah, like, I'm going to fall on my sword for you guys.
Right.
And it's going to be really great.
And she kind of has this whole head thing where she's like, well, if I do that, that'll make me and Shinji even for when he saved me from the lava.
Yeah.
So she's like, we're even if I can do this.
Which is kind of cool, though, that's how her mind works, where she's like, now, Shinji really stepped up to the plate, so, like, I'll take this one for him.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Even if it's very much like, okay, now we're even, fucko. It still shows that she appreciated that effort enough that she remembers it. Even if it's...
She's an asshole, but she's a competent teammate when she needs to be. Mm-hmm. Like, she's never failed at that.
No, she really hasn't.
She might be overambitious, but she is competent. And she's willing to step in danger for the mission.
Well, I mean, right after announcing this plan, she does just that.
Yeah.
Jumps into the tube, props herself up.
Gets slimed.
Ray shoots down, tosses up the rifle to Shinji, and he's like, all right, I've got it, move! And she ducks back in, and it looks so dope. And Shinji is just shooting right up this tunnel, and the spider's like, nah!
And they're going like right through them.
Yeah, and then it just... The angel blows up, but like from planning to execution, it is such a cool sequence just to see it all work.
I really like it. It's a really good character moment to see the first, second, and third children work together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I'm excited to see. I'm hoping that in the next episode they have just like this massive nerve crime scene set up with all the splatter of the spider, and they're like studying it.
That would be cool. Or I'd love another instance where they do chalk outlines, but
they've got a million of them.
They're like, here's a leg, there's a leg. Oh, acid eye.
The legs were massive.
Yeah, just fucking 4 of those things. Ding, 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 ding. But yeah, so the plan works without a hitch. Cuts back to the command center, and they're all like, yeah, they did it. Woo!
Did they get power back?
Yeah, and then the power kicked back on. So it cuts back to Kaji and Misato, and Kaji has Misato propped up on his shoulders, and she's trying to
she's trying to get the hatch out from the elevator, yeah.
And she goes, you better not be looking up my skirt. And Kaji's like, I'm not. Jeez.
Right.
Pretty soon they fall. Yep. Right as the power comes back on. Elevator's open, and it's Ritsuko, Mikado, and Maya. Uh-huh. And it just holds on them, and Ritsuko's face is like, oh my god, you guys.
I know.
And then Maya goes, in my dub goes, sex fiends.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh. Man, what did she say? She didn't say anything enough for me to write down. I think she just said
brother.
Like deviants or something.
Yeah, Maya just goes, sex fiends.
Amazing.
And it was, I wrote, sex fiends, LMAO.
I don't think it looked like they were banging.
No, but I think everyone knows their history.
Right.
And so it was the easy assumption to go, yeah, they fucked.
I mean, I like, it's kind of a bad joke, but I like the duality of, Masato and Kaji, and then like Shinji and Asuka both having like the "don't look up my skirt" kind of moments.
It is very funny, and like I thought that was such a fun way to tie together that last little third plot point they kept jumping to.
It's good. I mean, dude, the humor in the show typically has been really well thought out.
Yeah,
there's been a couple duds, but for the most part, it's really smart,
and it's well thought out. It's not like a cheap joke or like a weird shock value laugh. It's like a well thought out, oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
And it's executed well too.
And it goes from that to actually some meaningful dialogue between the kids.
Yeah, I was going to say I love the shot of the 3 of them just like looking at the night sky.
Yeah, me too.
And they're just kind of like, wow, you can actually see so much when the lights aren't on.
Dude, it actually gave me a lot of Kingdom Hearts vibes.
Yes.
Of like Riku, Sora, and Kairi just kind of like sitting on the beach.
Yeah. Or being kids.
Yeah.
Or like just kind of enjoying the moment of, we did good today.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah. Which I feel like seldom happens for those three. Often.
No. But
as a whole, just a banger of an episode, I think.
Do you remember what the dialogue said in your version?
What did it say in yours?
It was kind of deep in mine. That basically, Shinji's like, man, the stars look so beautiful when there's no power.
Yeah.
Like, you can't deny that. And Asuka's like, yeah, but like, that's BS because like, we need power. And so who cares about the stars? And, and then Rey kind of has this thought where she's like, and it's weird that she would even speak, first off.
Yeah.
She rarely says things
unprompted.
Yes, perfect. I was searching for that word.
Yeah.
And she's kind of just like, man, I should have written it down because it's hard to put into words right now just off memory. But she kind of has this thought of like, humanity is the reason why. Like humanity, and they're desperate. They're so desperate to evolve that they create light and they create all these things.
Oh,
and that's why we can't see the stars. And humanity always burns. Like they create flame, and that flame burns like everything natural.
Yeah, Rey and mine. That totally sparked my memory. She goes, mankind is afraid of the darkness.
Yes.
That's why they create fire, so they can look at the darkness on the fringes of the light.
Yes, yes. That's what I was trying to look for. That's a very deep line.
Yeah, and I was just like, ooh.
And Shinji comes back at that. I forget if Asuka says something like,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
She's probably just like,
yeah. I'm deep too.
Wonder if my boobs get hot, they'll get bigger.
Yeah, it's kind of cold. Are they small?
And they're all just like, shut up, bitch.
Well, Shinji comes back at Rey with this line of like, I wonder if that's what makes humanity special.
Yeah.
Like that
we're afraid of the darkness, and yet we still explore it even when it's on the fringes of light or something like that.
Right. And he's like, I wonder if that's why the angels don't like us.
Yeah.
And Asuka's like, how would we know? And then like the episode ends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that was really good writing.
Yeah. Just like a nice snapshot look into, and it kind of follows up on Shinji even asking the question, what are the angels? What are they? Like, I've always been told angels are messengers of God. They're supposed to be the good guys. So why are we fighting them?
Right. In name, at least. And that's what we call these. So, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so by extension, where does that leave us?
These are like my first episode questions. And it's curious to me that it's taken Shinji until now to start asking these questions.
But I think at the same time, though, we may have those questions, but he's also, from episodes 1 to now, just kind of gone through a lot, but not just a lot in terms of like, oh, he's done so much. As a character and as a person, he has experienced a lot. He's made friends. He's found purpose.
Had a ton of growth.
And so now, once those things have been achieved, it becomes less, I think, about him looking inward. And now his look is kind of around him, and he's going, yeah, so why are people?
Right. Like, who am?
Why am?
Well, and of course, Rey is sort of like, well, as a clone, I don't even know who am. That's for you to decide.
Who am I?
I would love it if some random dub has that. Who am I? Oh, I would run with that.
And then Asuka's like, yeah, who are you? A dumb bitch.
Stop it, Asuka! That was Shinji.
She just punches the shit out of him. But yeah, I love that scene, and I'm glad you reminded me. I should have jotted it down because that is a great exchange that they have.
Yeah.
And I think it lends a lot of, depth to just the ideas of humanity and talking about like darkness versus the light. And just, yeah, I think it's a really special moment. And like you said, very, very well written.
It's nice that the characters that are doing the fighting are now starting to ask the question of which side is the right side.
Yeah, and
because the viewers, I mean, if anybody's first time watching this has probably been wondering that the whole time, at least I have. So it's nice to now see it's like the characters are becoming self-aware of the situation they're in.
Yeah, and they're kind of like, why are we fighting? And it's cool because, you see the parallels of Asuka going, well, obviously they attacked us first, so I'm going to kick their dumb ass. And Shinji goes, I had no dog in this fight. I'm kind of just doing it to do it.
Right.
Because my dad made me do it. And if I didn't, Ray would die doing it. So, am I doing the right thing? Kinda? And not that I think he's questioning to a point where he won't, but kind of like you're saying, that door is now open of, are we the baddies? Or are we the goodies?
It's a good use of, like a solid modern question that, I'm sure people ask all the time about just current state of warfare in the world. And for them to be exploring that through this fictional, animated medium it's really cool.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. So I guess with that, what do you give episode 11?
This was probably my hardest episode yet to give a score to because it's so different than some of the other ones. And there's certain things that, I've given good scores to other episodes because they capitalize in certain areas that this one really doesn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this one really hits at a lot of areas that were unexplored in other episodes. And so I think I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Just a solid episode.
That's good.
It didn't have anything that blew my mind action-wise, but it really had some quality moments in there that I thought were a lot better than episode 10.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think this episode gets us back on the right track, to where I expect the show to continue to go.
Completely agree. I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah.
I just think that there are a lot of really cool character moments, and I think that the ways in which they're conveyed and that coupled with just cool teamwork and a nice, finally getting to see Asuka, Rei, and Shinji in action together is to me a treat. And it's
that was
cool,
pretty badass.
And it's cool seeing that them followed by this very introspective talk and kind of, looking at not only themselves but kind of the whole world as a whole is just very cool.
No, dude, I agree 100%. I like I said, this one was really hard for me to rate because I could see if you gave it a 6.5 or a 7, and I could see if you gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, I think it really just depends on what you're looking for or what you like shown in each episode versus how they go about doing that. And I think that this one kind of ties back to some of the earlier episodes where you have all these different plot threads running and in tandem, but they all resolve themselves very well and come together in a way that's satisfying, but you also are left going, damn, okay, that was really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like at the end of Rei 2, seeing the mirrored actions of Gendo in Shinji saving Rei, and the talk they have where he's like, I'll save you. Your life isn't pointless.
Right.
And just kind of cool parallels with that. So definitely going to give it a 9.
Good.
Nice. Well, I mean,
another episode down, man.
Another episode down. You guys heard it here first. Spencer gave it an 8. I'm giving it a 9. Let us know what you would rate it in the comments on YouTube, Facebook. Let us know on Twitter. Shoot us a, email. Hey, or should I say snail mail, right? Anyways, you can reach us at any of those platforms, at HiroBabble on all of them. And honestly, we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have anything, questions, comments, concerns, we're all ears. But until then, I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer.
Or should I say Spenzo? Spenko. The mech from episode...
Spexo.
There it is. Or Spexo.
I was like, where's he going with this?
I don't know. I was trying to remember what you said. But anyways, until next time, we are HiroBabble, and bye-bye.